Welcome back to the show. We now continue our look back at the history of the sports of snowboarding. By the new millennium, snowboarding had established itself as a serious competitive sport with mass media attention. Riders were making a good living from sponsorship and prize money, and where other sports would stagnate, one man made sure this didn't happen with snowboarding.
Terrier just doesn't like being bored. Terrier is always looking to provoke a situation to try and evoke it into something new and fresh and dynamic. And if he feels something stagnating or it's becoming status quo, he'll press the button.
One of the reasons why I started doing the Arctic Challenge was because it was really frustrating. When we went to events, the people who organized them didn't know how to push the progression. You know, we start experimenting with bigger jumps, transitions, and different format.
The Arctic Challenge was to become the benchmark for event progression, and amongst the many stars invited to Norway was a 14-year-old by the name of Shaun White.
Here you got skating, surfing, whatever you want to do, so it's pretty nice to have that option.
For the first time ever, the event format truly was in the hands of the riders. The playground of Lofoten didn't fail to provide. Terrier won the halfpipe and the highest air, with Roman Demarchi winning the overall quarterpipe.
The most important thing for having an event or competing, if you have a good course, a good elements to ride on, the level's going to rise and you're going to see better riding.
Well, some of that better riding was to be provided by Terje Haakonsen himself, but his record for the quarterpipe highest air set the previous year was to be blown out of the water. The crowd watched in anticipation as the young Hikisausa hit the quarterpipe, but he was a man on a mission and sent it into space. By the time he came down, the judges calculated he'd broken the world record, flying an incredible 9.35 metres out of the pipe. This record would stand for 5 years. The halfpipe also had a shake-up, with Danny Cass and Terrier being tipped to the top by the young Shaun White, who was quickly growing in stature and ability. The Arctic Challenge was a huge success, but it was one of many events and there was no coherent series for the riders.
The sport actually developed in 1,000 different directions, and it was like tons of events like everywhere, and we all met together as a group and we founded this thing called the Ticket to Ride, where actually everyone could win a ticket to go to the Arctic Challenge. That's how we actually connected all the events together. We had Air Style, Tokyo X-Trail Jam, European Open, Burton, US Open, all these events.
But the concept was that the winners of these really well-established, high prestige, respected snowboard events would generate their winner into the Arctic Challenge, which would not be the final of the tour. It was simply the finale of the tour.
One of these events generating a winner was the Air and Style, and in December of 2002 it saw the first ever 1260 in competition, earning Marc-Andre Tarts a third. Shaun White took second place at his Air and Style debut, and the win went to Germany's David Benedek. In 2003, the SB Jam was held with the New Year's celebrations in Davos, Switzerland, and another Californian was making a name for himself. Enter Andy Finch. He and Travis Rice dominate the airways for the next 3 years. Slopestyle courses were getting bigger and jibbing was on the up, and Finland's Jussi Oksanen proved his all-round skills by taking the Burton European title in 2003. Slopestyle competitions gained popularity, with Markku Koski winning the 2003 Quicksilver Slopestyle Pro, and with Sorsa, Oksanen and Koski, the first wave of Finnish superstars ruled the contests. Massive crowds turned up at Stratton Mountain to see the still young Shaun White win the US Open Slopestyle, and Travis Rice proved his all-round skills to win the first US Open Rail Jam. The two Americans won Ticket to Ride tickets and headed to the Arctic Challenge. The two dominated the 2003 competition in Norway, with Travis winning the quarterpipe, a very popular competition format at that time. And Shaun White did what he did best and still does: win. He took the slopestyle and halfpipe best trick titles and was on the way to become snowboarding's next superstar. The following year, the TTR continued to grow, incorporating the smaller and junior events into the series, creating a 1 to 6 star tier system.
Collectively, it became a tour, and it created a thread for a kid to dream of becoming a tier 1 athlete all the way. They could find their way all the way to becoming a world champion or a world tour champion. That's what the TTR created.
Mathieu Crépel from France was the first man to win the title, and after a consistent 2005-2006 season, he celebrated an historic moment in competitive snowboarding.
I got a letter from the French president, Jacques Chirac. I think it's great for the TTR too that it's recognized by somebody like this.
The TTR also introduced a women's tour, and the first overall champion was Cheryl Maas from the Netherlands.
It's hard to realize sometimes that I'm like a world champion, because it's just like the first thing and it's new, and I wonder how everybody's gonna look at it. But I'm super stoked to be the first one to get that title and to grab it, and I'll have it forever.
But 2006 was the year of Shaun White, who went on a winning rampage and cemented his status as snowboarding's first true global superstar. Riders like White pushed the trick progression, but it was Germany's David Benedict at the 2006 Ehrenstar Munich who first landed the trick that would shape the future of contest snowboarding, the double cork. However, the contest was won by Travis Rice with an equally innovative double backflip backside 180, and snowboard history was once again written at the legendary Ehrenstar.
Down the level of riding, it's never been like this in a contest ever. Just straight up, ever.
A few months later, at the 2007 Arctic Challenge, Terje Håkansson stepped back into the limelight on home soil and broke the highest air world record with a 9.8 metre backside 360. Once again, the Haken was back.
I think that says it all for this contest. You know, Terje coming and being able to do that just puts it to a whole new level, and so I'm just so happy that I was a part of it.
Kevin Pearce himself claimed his first six-star victory by winning the overall quarterpipe title at the same event before dominating the contest scene the next season when he became the 2007-2008 TTR World Tour champion. His next triumph was at the Burton European Open in Lax, where it came to a legendary showdown with Shaun White in the halfpipe final.
It's kind of like now, it's like nobody can beat Shaun, and it's like he's up on top. And, you know, he's the best rider.
First position, you're Shaun White.
At that point in my career, I loved pressure, and I would just thrive on the pressure, and I'd be like, oh, he threw that, I'm going to have to lay something down. Just having that pressure just kind of drove me to get to that place that I knew I needed to be in. It was just like crazy. I was able to step up at the right times.
With a memorable run, Kevin Pearce claimed the title and challenged Shaun White's dominance in the halfpipe. But to win the TTR Tour crown, he had to defend his quarterpipe title at the final event of the season.
There was so much pressure on my shoulders, just like, if you don't do this, then the season's blown for you.
He didn't blow it and won the Arctic Challenge and also the TTR World Tour title.
Be able to, you know, have that accomplishment and, you know, make it that far in snowboarding. It was just a total dream come true.
My name is Peet Piiroinen. I'm 16 years old and I come from Finland.
Well, having come through the junior ranks at the Open events, Finnish rider Peetu Piiroinen started to dominate the pro contest scene. The 2008-2009 season saw him win one six-star event and take 4 second places, giving him his first overall TTR title.
When I met him and he didn't say a word, and you were like, hello, you know, knock, knock, knock. And when he rode, it was so smooth, it was so perfect, it was so technically correct that you sometimes didn't realize what he had just done.
One word for Peitu, this kid is talented. He can do the quarter pipe, he can do the big air, he can do the half pipe, he can do the slopestyle, and there's so few people in the world that are at that level.
P2 even stepped it up in the 2009-2010 season, taking 3 six-star victories and 3 more six-star podium places. The overall TTR victory was his again. The reign of the Iceman was far from over, and after winning his 3rd consecutive overall title in the 2010-11 season, he went on to bag his 4th World Snowboard Tour title at the Arctic Challenge in 2013.
The double course started happening and you were like, oh my gosh, this is as big as it gets. And now it's like the triple course going on and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine anything else. So it's like, how far can it continue to go?
It's a strange thing that happened, the invention of these tricks, because it dramatically changed the way the sport.
With triple corks now being landed in big air and slopestyle contests, the technical level of snowboarding has reached new heights, and young riders like Mark McMorris and 2012 World Snowboard Tour champion Stale Sandberg are constantly pushing the levels. In the last decade, the contest scene has grown into a worldwide movement, with superstars like Shaun White bringing events to places as far afield as China. The World Snowboard Tour is today considered the leading event series in the sport, and in 2012 celebrated its first World Championships in Oslo, Norway. What started with racing straight lines down a hill is now a constantly developing mainstream sport. And as long as the mountains are covered in snow, then competitive snowboarding is here to stay.